Hi guys, this is Kai, and yes, I'm finally back after a while. Videos haven't been coming through as frequently as I would want them to, so yeah. But, you know, I'm good with that. I would ask you to like videos and maybe subscribe or whatever, because, you know, business is hard these days, so I gotta roll with what's happening, and what's happening is that I need some support off people, because, you know, I'm trying to do it, but it's just not working out. The time is ridiculous for editing these things, so yeah. Anyway, let's get into the subject of this video, because, you know, me, generally unprepared in fashion, I will start, and here we go. This is the Satellaview, also known as the BSX, released as a Super Famicom add-on in 1995 by Nintendo in a bid to bring online gaming to the Super Famicom in Japan. It was made in collaboration with a company called Satellaview, which was a subsidiary of a Japanese TV company called WoW, and they set up a subsidiary to utilize satellite radio in Japan by use of proprietary tuners for usage of and listening to it, as well as paid for subscription for the service. Now, that's all well and good, but I suppose the subscription service actually put a lot of people off, and I'd say it would have put me off quite a lot, because, you know, I don't want to pay for things, but yeah, I mean, though it was actually pretty successful, the service itself was pretty successful, so, however, the company fell into some financial difficulty, and around 95, they had to make a deal with Nintendo to produce a add-on for the system, the Super Famicom, so that they could broadcast game data, and that was done over the satellite radio on a separate frequency known as BSX 330 PSM, which was the Satellaview's channel, basically. That, in conjunction with the Satellaview add-on for utilization of the software, as well as the tuner, would let you access the broadcast done by Satellaview for the Super Famicom. These broadcasts consisted of audio dramas, which usually would be played over games known as sound-link games, as well as the digital magazines, which were, you know, regional copies of Nintendo Power and Famitsu and other magazines that were popular in Japan, such as Korokoro, as well as games, full-on games, as well as mini-games. A lot of Gaiden version of games were released for the Satellaview, i.e. Kirby, Chrono Trigger, Sight Bike was one, I believe Mario had a couple, as well as there being a few Zelda, and I think a Final Fantasy for it. I know there's a Dragon Quest as well, so yeah. Now, the fact that these were only released in Japan meant that the US and Europe generally hadn't heard about this thing until way after its sellout date, and yeah. Though, there's a funny thing is the actual support for the system ranged till 2000. I know, right? That's a long time. It's 5 years of support. The company Satellaview itself actually went out of business in 2007 with its last broadcasting satellite being shut down and its licenses being revoked at that time, but yeah. Nintendo themselves actually discontinued support for the machine in 1999, so I think Satellaview supported it for about a year afterwards, and then discontinued all its services towards the Satellaview. Now that I've done with the history of the product, I think it's time to get into reviewing the actual product. Now, you're greeted at first with the startup screen that says Satellaview, and then launches into the BSX BIOS menu, which is quite nice actually. I like it. I like the fact of I like the fact that you've used comical characters, which are a satellite receiver dish and a satellite. Which, yeah, okay. Granted, that's witty. Sengiga, that's witty. So yeah. Anyway, the machine actually, the BIOS loads you into the machine launches you into a city called the City with No Name, literally. That could show signs of laziness, and yes, that is why I think they did that, but you get to pick an avatar, which is nice, and that is pretty cool. So Nintendo themselves actually had the ability to choose avatars way before you did with Microsoft's Xbox. So that's cool. Also, the machine itself came with the memory card, which was used for storing game data, and was included with the gold pack of the system, and you could buy these separately as well. They were 8 megabit, so they were 1 megabyte cartridges holding a meg of data, which is about 1 game, to be honest. Maybe 2, depending on the length of the game. So, yeah. As well as this, the tuna actually goes into the bottom of the system using the EXT port, which many Americans and Europeans port was there for the mentioned SNES CD add-on, or Super Famicom CD add-on, which never came to be, evolved into the PlayStation by Sony. So, yeah. Now, the buildings in the cities actually represent all the different types of media you can actually receive via this system. And the fact they were launched in real time was new for the time and was considered very innovative. But it's kind of annoying now because none of them work unless you have the game actually stored in the memory card. Otherwise, the system's just useless, and it's just the sheer joy of having it, which isn't very much if you can't use it, and you can't actually use it on the American system. Though you can on the European, since it's just a redesign of the actual Famicom, and it actually contains all the same data, just localized for English or other releases. So, yeah. In closing, then, the system itself is a nice system, and it looked nice. It worked well, and was a good idea for back in its day. This would never happen today, however, because radio is actually an obsolete method for broadcasting game data. It would have been nice to see a version of this released in the US and Europe, because, I would have liked to use this in English, not in Japanese. And, yeah, I quite like it. It's a nice experiment from Nintendo, and as far as add-ons go, it's definitely the most successful that I know of. Maybe the Famicom Disk System is on par with it in terms of add-ons, but very successful, and it sold very well. Yeah. So this has been Kai again, reminding, please rate, subscribe, like, and if you can, email me any requests that you guys have.